How's it going, everybody? I hope that you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Today, I'm very excited about this video. We're going to talk about a fan favorite, Nepenthes Truncata, how to take care of it, how long it takes them to grow in my experience, and just everything Truncata. I hope you enjoy. So let's start off with some of the smaller ones. What I have in front of you now are three different types, three different hybrids that I have, and a smaller one. I wanted to bring the smaller one to show you for size comparison and how long they take to grow. But first, let's introduce these. I've got several more, but I'm gonna, just for brevity's sake, we'll show these, a mid-size one, and then show you my two very, very large ones. But this is Truncata JB by Patian from Carnivorous. In my opinion, is the most beautiful, fastest growing Truncata that I own. It gets very, very red pictures, and you'll see that in the larger one. This is, the middle one is Titan's Tower from Predatory Plants. It is a cross between their enormous female Titan by a red form Truncata. And I'm going to do a segment here in a minute, very hit or miss on how fast they grow. And then the next one is from Carnivorous. This is JB by Truncata Giant. Now, the difference with this one is it gets very green pictures. This interior is very spotty, but the other clone I have, the large one, gets very purple interiors. And the peristome will start off green like this and will turn to a deep red. Oddly enough, that does not happen until the plant starts getting a little larger, and I will show that to you. Now, what I want to talk about is how long it's taken to get from this size to this size, and that is all dependent on the individual plant, the hybrid, and the clone. For instance, I have found that the JB by Truncata Patian grows exceptionally faster than a Titan Tower, and then also my Hiroshima clone is probably the slowest growing. So it depends on that. It also depends on the breeding stock, and that's what's going to take me to the next segment of the video. I'm going to show you three plants that came from the exact same group of plants, and you'll be shocked at the difference in size. So all of these came from the same sibling group. This is all from the same breeding brood, if you will. And look at the difference in size. And so I get a lot of questions of how long does it take for a Truncata to get to a certain size. And that's a difficult question to answer because there is an average, obviously, but there's a lot of variance. This one right here, these are all Titan's Towers. This one right here has, for whatever reason, I thought it was going to die, and I've given it the same care, and it just has never wanted to grow. It's finally starting to make some leaf jumps, and it looks like it's going to be successful, but never has done anything for me. This middle one here I have another one just like it that has stayed the exact same size, and I just can't get them to grow very fast. I'm extraordinarily slow, whereas this one, same breeding stock, has just absolutely grown very rapidly. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's just night and day. These two plants would probably fit on one leaf of this one. So very difficult to say how your Truncata is going to grow. It all depends on just the individual seedling. If it's a clone, obviously it's going to act a little differently, and you'll have a little bit more consistency in it. But as far as you're dealing with individual seedlings, they're all going to grow differently. Now, if you've ever grown seeds of any sort of plant in bulk, but especially Nepenthes, you'll find that there's a huge variance in how they grow. Some will grow very fast, and that's how they strengthen their breeding process or breeding stock, by taking those faster, more robust plants. But just an idea of what you can expect in the size variability. The same amount of time, same amount of care, same location, everything has been identical, but that is just what you get sometimes. So this is the JB by Truncata Giant from Carnivorous. It's one of my mid-size Truncatas. I've got a couple that are much larger than this, but this is one of my mid-size ones. Oddly enough, this one is just probably a couple months, maybe a month or two older, at least in my care, as the other one I showed you. But you can see again how fast they grow. Now here is a larger version of that. See, it still has that green picture, with that spotted interior. But this is that peristome I was telling you about that really colors up as this plant ages. And so you can expect a little difference in morphology as the plant grows, and a little bit different care, or excuse me, not care, but just a little bit different personality to come out in these plants. And if they're seed grown, they're going to have individual personalities for sure. This one's gotten a little smush because it grows in the corner here. But see how the leaves, they start off very heart-shaped, and then they start getting this strap leaf. This one's just now starting to get it, but it'll look very much more prominent in the larger forms. That is typical of a truncata. It will start off very compact, very heart-shaped in their leaves, and as they grow and get older, they will start to get this strapped leaf shape. Also, I was under the impression when I was growing truncata that they were more of a compact plant, but they actually, when I first started, but in seeing this, they actually get very branchy. They branch out quite a long ways, and these will the stems will get very large, or very long. So here is that JB by Truncata Giant. This one is from Carnivorous, and this will give you a comparison. Let me pull up the other one and show you the difference a couple of months make. So here is two of them next to each other, and this just gives you an idea of size comparison and also growth habit. Both of these are from Carnivorous. Both of these are JB by Truncata Giant. They're the exact same parentage. This one is from a group that came out right before this one. Now, as far as my care, this one's only been 2 or 3 months younger than this one. I don't know how long Carnivorous had them in their care, but I can imagine it's probably a little bit, obviously probably a year, maybe there might be a year apart. But the cool thing about Truncata is that they will start off very slow in their growth pattern and very compact for quite a while. I would say for the first 80% of their, if you want to call it their youth, they'll start off slow, and then they'll start making some pretty pronounced leaf jumps. And then once they get about this size is when they're really going to start taking off, and each leaf is going to be appreciably larger than the last. I happen to find Truncata to be an exceptionally easy grower, and we'll talk more about their care at the end of the video. But these are really cool, just to give you a comparison. Let me bring out the Hiroshima clone to talk about that one. So it's going to get appreciably harder for me to get these into camera view as we get larger. This is the Hiroshima clone. Not an easy truncata to grow. It is very, very temperamental, but you can see here that it did not like the brighter light that I was giving it. If you've watched my videos, you've seen this thing has struggled for me, but I will say, since I moved it down away from the light, I would say I'm about 4 feet off from the light. It has done exceptionally well. Here's the leaf, the new leaf with that less light in the new picture there. Now, these are known for their very large size as they get older, but they have that very nice flared peristome. They don't all stay this flared, but what I love about them is this gets that very, very pronounced heart shape on the peristome. Let me see if I can find another one to show you that. Here's one that's fallen out, but you can see that heart shape. I do not necessarily recommend this clone if you're a new grower to truncatas. It has been one of the more pain in the butt clones for me to grow. It's off to the side because I was hanging for a while, but now that it's on the ground, it seems to be doing a lot better as well. It seems to be, in my care at least, very light sensitive, and so it does better for me away from the light. And so as you can see, the new leaf is growing out, and this is what truncata will do, right? They'll grow just straight up like this, and then they'll sort of fold over as they get going. But this is the Hiroshima clone. I'm sorry, I can't get it all the way in the focus. This one is from Carnivorous as well. I've got another one that I want to show you, and then we're gonna do the we're gonna do the big ones next. So hopefully I can get those in camera for you, but they are quite large. Give me a sec. So this is my large JB by Patient clone from Carnivorous. As you can see, it's not my largest one. I'll bring that one out here in just a minute. But as you can see, the pictures are getting pretty good shape. This one's kind of broken on the peristome a little bit. I hope you guys appreciate this video, because getting to these plants is an absolute chore, these truncatas. as they're spreading out. But yeah, that's a decent size one. But I've got a new one growing here that's going to be pretty good size. But here's that leaf. See, what I like about this one, it's definitely kept that heart shape. Normally at this size, that leaf would start to get really strap shape. And this one will too, but it has kept that heart shape for a while. And I just love the leaf. This JB by Patient has just been an absolutely gorgeous stock of plants. But got that nice heart shaped leaf on there. This one is not appreciably older than that middle one that I showed you. So they do, once they start growing, they grow fast, and they will make some big jumps. But I don't know, this is probably 2 feet wide, and so it is growing very fast. It definitely is a more compact grower than the Titan's Tower. See how everything, the stem is very short. Wait till you see the Titan's Tower, how long those are. But absolutely a wonderful plant. I'm sure these things will lengthen out, and the leaves will certainly strap out as it gets a little bit older. But JB by Patient, great plant. I've got one more to show you, and then we'll talk about the care. All right, so this one's going to be a little difficult to get in the camera. This is the Truncata by JB. Here's its newest picture on it. Let's see if I can get that in the frame. It's probably a foot or so, and we'll continue to, I said Truncata by JB, my apologies. This is Titan's Tower from Predatory Plants. You can see that it was bred with that very red picture, or Truncata rather. It's hard to get in focus. I've got probably in total 10 of these, and as you can see, they vary wildly in how they grow. See, this one's got a very strapped shaped leaf on it. This one gets extremely long, but this is indicative of its mother. The mother gets very, very long and branchy too, but that one's enormous. So I expect this one to be the same. It looks like it got good. Let me turn it around. It looks like it might be a newer, freshly opened picture maybe. Yeah, this one's all kind of wonky. But I've got them growing really close together. They seem to like that. They seem to like the closeness. And so, sorry I can't get it completely in frame. My arms are just not long enough. But Truncata Titan by a red clone. Now this one is available still on Predatory Plants. Actually very cheap. I think it's like 30 bucks or something like that for a small one. And as you can see, they do vary widely in their growth, but they certainly are one that I would suggest for anybody. As you can see here, it did not like being close to the light. And also this is certainly damage from oedema significantly. But since I've moved it down from the light, then the newer leaves are definitely turning green. I probably am going to treat it just with a fungicide just to be sure. It got very dry at one point. Now Truncatas can handle a lot of dryness, but it once it gets dry, it makes them susceptible to fungus just like any other Nepenthes. So I need to go ahead and treat that. But they're bulletproof plants, and we'll talk about that in, just now. So let's talk about care. Now, I know I have made a video about this in the past, and you don't hear this conversation a lot, but I think a Truncata belongs on the short list of plants for beginners. They are every bit, if not more hardy than a Miranda or a Ventrata. They can take a wide range of growing conditions, and they're extremely forgiving of dried out periods. Their leaves are very thick. They're more of an epiphyte for when it comes to Nepenthes. They grow up in the trees, and so they can handle a lot. And for new growers who haven't gotten their environment just right, they will do great for you. Now, the thing to note about Truncata, and everybody talks about, is how slow they are. They are certainly a slower plant than most of the Nepenthes that you'll get out there, save maybe the highland ones. But I have found that they get kind of a bad rap for that. They're not necessarily as slow as people say that they are. The leaf jumps themselves are just very rewarding to see. They grow it very fast as far as in that regards. They just don't put out a lot of leaves, but when they do, the leaf is most of the time as the size of the plant, if not a little bit larger, especially once they start reaching that sort of teenager stage, if you will. What I like to do is give them a very good breathable soil. Like I said, they're more of an epiphyte when it comes to Nepenthes. So I do probably 60-40 mix of perlite to sphagnum moss. That way they have a lot of air around their roots and that they can breathe very well. As I mentioned, they grow up in the canopies a lot of times. So I have found in my personal experience that they don't necessarily like a lot of light. Certainly they need the light. They're not like an enigma where they like the shade, but they seem to like very dappled light. And since I've moved them down to the floor of the grow tent, which is about 4 or 5 feet away from the lights, they have very much loved that. The other thing that I've noticed is they like to be close together to one another. They like to have that closeness, and I'm assuming that keeps up the ambient humidity around them. But in general, I think they would be a great plant that would even grow inside a home. I know that they would be. It would take them a little while to get acclimated. But as far as clones, in my opinion, the JB by Patient has been by far and large the easiest and most beautiful hybrid that I've seen. I highly recommend that one from Carnivorous. Every one that I have, maybe 4, I think, and they've all been exceptionally growers. The JB itself is a very good stabilizing clone. That thing has done exceptionally well with everything that I have. The JB by Patient and the JB by Truncata Giant have all done well. The Titan's Tower, in my experience, has been very easy. However, there has been a very wide variance in how the offspring will grow. Some of them, like that last one I showed you, has always been a strong, very large grower. But then the small one I showed you has taken exceptionally long to grow. It's finally started putting out leaf, but it is definitely taken a long time to grow. As far as aeration, they like to be close together, but you still want a fan going so they have good aeration around their stems. As you saw from my last one, they can get susceptible to oedema, just like any other truncata or thick leaf, like a Rob Cantley, which there's debate whether or not it's a truncata. So you want to make sure that when you are watering them, don't spray the water on the leaves or let water sit on the leaves. Just have the water going into the media, and you'll be just fine. So if you have a sprayer, just move the leaf out of the way and spray them, and that way they won't get oedema. And if they do dry out too long, they will survive for you, but as you've seen on that last one, it does make them susceptible to a fungus, and so I'll need to treat that. So make sure to keep them watered. Like I said, they can handle a wide range of conditions. This tent, it gets as low as 50 degrees and as high as 100 degrees. This tent is quasi outside. It's in a shed outside, so there's a quite varying in the temperatures, but they do just fine, more so than the other Nepenthes that I have. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If there's anything that I've left out, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here to help. My apologies if I don't seem as with it today. I've got a ruptured eardrum, and I've also got the flu. So it has been a wonderful experience the last few weeks, but I'm always here for you guys. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Have a good day and have a great week. See you soon.